Welcome back, Break Chains family. We're still studying the story of I said three, but it's more like the four Hebrew boys. And we're getting into the dream that Nebuchadnezzar had. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Daniel chapter 2. Thou, O king, sawest, behold, a great image. This great image, whose brightness was excellent, stood before thee, and the form thereof was terrible. This image was of gold, and his breast and his arms of silver, his belly and thighs of brass, his legs of iron, his feet part of iron and part of clay. Thou sawest till that a stone was cut out without hands, which smote the image upon his feet that were of iron and clay, and brake them into pieces. Then was the iron, the clay, the brass, and the silver, and the gold broken to pieces together, and became like the shaft of the summer threshing floors, and the wind carrying them away, that no place was found for them. And the stone that smote the image became a great mountain, filled the whole world. This is a dream, and we will tell the interpretation thereof before the king. Okay, so for the sake of time, I didn't go through the whole chapter of Daniel. Basically, I just want to make sure that I make this point. No one could interpret the dream for the king. So here we have Daniel getting ready to interpret what the king saw in his dream. Thou, O King, art King of kings, for the God of heaven hath given thee a kingdom, power, and strength, and glory. And wheresoever the children of men dwell, the beasts of the field and the fowls of the earth hath he given into thy hand, and hath made thee ruler over them all. Thou art this head of gold. After thee shall arise another kingdom inferior to thee, and another third kingdom of brass, which shall bear rule over all the earth. And the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron, for as much as iron breaketh in pieces, and subdueth all things. And as iron that breaketh all things, shall it break in pieces and bruise. And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of the potter's clay and part of the iron, the kingdom shall be divided. But there shall be in it of the strength of the iron, for as much as thou saw the iron mixed with murky clay. And as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with murky clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. And in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to another people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. For as much as thou sawest that the stone was cut out of the mountain without hands, and that it brake in pieces, the iron, the brass, the clay, the silver, and the gold, the past hereafter, and the dream is certain, and the interpretation thereof sure. Then the king Nebuchadnezzar fell upon his face and worshipped Daniel, and commanded that they should offer an oblation and sweet odors unto him. The king answered unto Daniel and said, Of a truth it is that your God is a God of gods and Lord of kings and revealer of secrets, seeing thou couldst reveal this secret. Then the king made Daniel a great man and gave him many gifts, and made him ruler over the whole province of Babylon, and chief of the governors over all the wise men of Babylon. Then Daniel requested of the king, and he set Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego over the affairs of the province of Babylon, but Daniel sat in the gate of the king. Interesting. Okay, so the title of this slide is He Took It Too Far. So basically, we're going into chapter 3, where we're going to see where basically King Nebuchadnezzar erected a statue of himself. And I think this is a very important lesson to learn. It's very easy to look at stories in the Bible and you're like, that's so dumb. I know I did. Let me say me. And I was like, why would you do that? But I really can't talk. We really can't talk about King Nebuchadnezzar because how many times have God given us a vision or a dream and or he revealed to us what he's getting ready to bless us with, or he has blessed us with, or given us a position, and we just take it and run with it and we start feeling ourselves. There was a reason why God gave him that dream, and that the only person who could interpret that dream was someone who was a person of God, who was a servant of the Most High. And the reason for him doing that is so he would know where and who the blessing is coming from, and that he would give him glory, him honor. But no. He took it and made it all about himself. He started giving himself glory and himself some honor, right? Himself some honor. He started giving himself glory and honor. But without further ado, let's just get into the story so we can see how this all ends. Daniel chapter 3. Nebuchadnezzar the king made an image of gold whose height was 60 cubits. So 60 cubits is approximately 98.4 feet tall. So to give you kind of a reference point, let's just say 100 feet tall, right? So this thing was as tall as 3 school buses. So think of school buses. You see how tall they are? Now stack 3 of them on top of themselves, right? Okay, and then that is width was 6 cubits. 6 cubits is approximately 9 feet, 0.9 inches, right? So we're going to round up. We're going to say 10 feet. The average couch, not the sectionals, is approximately 6 feet wide. So this thing was pretty much 1.5, a little bit bigger than 1.5 couches. So this was not a small little statue. This wasn't like, something you would see it maybe at a college or whatever. No, this thing was like homeboy did it big. And I'm thinking like, where did he get all that gold? I mean, that must have cost anyway. This thing was definitely extravagant. Okay. And I'm just like, wow. It's really eye-opening how we can get a vision and get something from God, and this is what we do. We may not go and erect a statue of ourselves, but our attitudes become so, and our egos become as big as the statue, and it gets out of hand. And the king Nebuchadnezzar sent word to gather together the satraps. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. Help me. The administrators, the governors, the counselors, the treasurers, the judges, the magistrates, and all the official of the provinces to come to the dedication of the image which King Nebuchadnezzar had set up. He set it up. It wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. Okay, that he made the statue. He erected the statue. Now he's telling you gotta come and worship him. Lord have mercy. So the satraps, the administrators, the governors, the counselors, the treasurers, the judges, and the magistrates, and all the officials of the provinces gathered together for the dedication of the image that King Nebuchadnezzar had set up. And they stood before the image that Nebuchadnezzar had set up. Then a herald cried out loud, "To you it is commanded, O peoples, nations, and languages, that at the time you hear the sound of the horn, flute, harp, lyre, and psaltery." I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. And symphony with all kinds of music, you shall fall down and worship the gold image that King Nebuchadnezzar set up. And whoever does not fall down and worship shall be cast immediately into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. Ooh. All right, so this is called the call out. This is the infamous story of the three Hebrew boys. Here we go. We go. Therefore, at the time when all the people heard the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, and the psaltery, I'm not sure how you pronounce that, and all kinds of music, all the people, the nations, and the languages fell down and worshiped the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. Wherefore at the time certain Chaldeans came near and accused the Jews. You know what? I think that's psaltery. Now that I think about it, I don't know. They spake and said to the king Nebuchadnezzar, O king, live forever. Thou, O king, hast made a decree that every man that shall hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and dulcimer, I don't know, and all kinds of music shall fall down and worship the golden image. And whoso falleth not down and worship, that he should be cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. There are certain Jews whom thou hast set over the affairs of the province of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These men, O king, have not regarded thee. They serve not thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. Then Nebuchadnezzar in his rage and fury commanded to bring Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Then they brought these men before the king. Nebuchadnezzar spake and said unto them, It is true, O Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, do not ye serve my gods, nor worship the golden image which I have set up? Now if ye be ready, that at what time ye hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and the dulcimer, I don't know how you pronounce it, and all kinds of music, ye fall down and worship the image which I have made. Well, but if ye worship not, ye shall be cast the same hour into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. And who is that God that shall deliver you out of my hands? Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer thee in this matter. If it be so, our God who we serve is able to deliver us from the fiery furnace. He will deliver us out of thy hand, O king. But if not, be it known unto thee, O king, that we shall not serve thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. Here we go. So this is very interesting. So think about it. These are his people, right? Like, because they gave him something that fed his ego, he loved them. They were cool. He put them in high positions. And remember, God tested them before, so that they could be in the presence of the king, so they could be his people, right? Because God wanted to use them. He wanted to make an example out of them. And in order for him to show his glory to all the nations, to all the people, he had to put them in a position where they would be the outcast. They would be persecuted. Have you ever considered that if God is doing something where you're getting persecuted, or you're getting ridiculed, or is putting you in a position where a lot of eyes are on you, it's because he's getting ready to do a real big miracle. He's going to do something miraculous with you. But the key are you going to worship? Almost it is you. Are you going to worship God? Are we going to worship God? Are we going to love God even when it hurts? Are we going to stand on our convictions? Are we going to stand on the word of God? Are we going to stand by the commandments that God has given us when it is putting us in a position that we are getting ready to lose our lives? Now, if this was me, if I were to be honest, I would have been over here. Maybe in front of them, I would have been acting, nonchalant. But I know I would have been in some corner like, God, please, go in the fire. Don't let this happen to me. Okay, don't let this happen to me. Don't put me in the fire. But homeboys was like, you know what? Check it. I'm going to serve the God that I know to be God, who put me in this position, who put me in front of you. I'm going to trust him so much so that even if he don't deliver me, I don't care. I'm not turning my back on him. hmm That's where they were at with it. They like, listen, I don't care what you got to say. You didn't put me here. God put me here. And that's what we need to remember. When God give us gifts, whatever the gifts may be, and those gifts puts us in a position of power, of leadership, authority. We cannot start doing what we want to do and worried about how it makes us look, worried about our image. No, it's about reflecting his character no matter what that makes us look like. Because it's not about you, it's not about reflecting you, boo. You We were created to be in the image of God. And when God was creating the world, he said, let us make, and us means the Godhead, let us make man in our image. He didn't say, let me make you in your image so you can shine and you can shine for your glory. No, he said, I made you so you can be in my image so you could shine for my glory. If you're calling yourself a disciple of God, if you're saying you're a woman, you're a man of God, and you are so busy trying to show people who you are, you're completely missing the mark. And I know, because I've been there. I told you I don't took this test too many times. I got it down to a science, friend. I remember I was taking algebra in college, and the teacher was talking about like how many times he failed. He can't believe that he actually is teaching algebra, and that he got to see it best. And I'm sitting here like, I don't want to learn from you. You Then I told my dad about it. I said, I don't know about this teacher. I'm about to switch classes. Got time for this. And my dad told me, he said, actually, that's the best teacher for you because he has failed so many times. He can break it down to a science. He can really dumb it down for you, break it down in the simplest terms because it took him so many times to get it right. That is why the Bible said he would use the foolish things of God to confound the wise, right? So if I'm over here teaching, that means I don't fail so many doggone times. You might be like, well, why are you? Because I can break this down to a science too. I can really, you know, bring explain this where you get it in its entirety. Okay, friend. Um. Anyway, but this is where some people get very, very frustrated. This is where a lot of people at this point would want to walk away and turn away from God. Remember, when you're taking a test, when God gives you a bunch of information, that means you're getting ready to get tested on the information. When you're in school, we all been in school, most of us is probably, I don't know, has been to college. They said you can't, you don't talk during the test. I mean, you can't ask your neighbor, you can't ask nobody, you can't phone a friend to help you with during this test, right? Okay, very important key. There is also, you can't get up and leave during the test. Okay, so when God is testing you, you want to dip and then you want to try to come back to it, and then you like, wait, what's going on? Why is it? Wait, it's that thing ain't there no more. Yeah, because you got up and left. When you got up and left, you forfeited. You forfeited it. Now you're going to have to go take the test, take the class, and take it all over again, but it's not going to be with the same blessing. It's going to be something else. It's going to be someone else. It's going to be another place, another job, whatever. Fill in the blank, right? And then some of us go, well, God, you quiet. You ain't talking to me. I can't hear you. The teacher does not talk in the middle of the test. That's cheating. Because the teacher has already given you everything you needed to know in order for you to take this test. If you are lacking or you don't know, it's because you're choosing to be that way, because you're choosing to lean on your own understanding. When you're taking a test, instantly the verses will come to you. It'll come to you if you've been studying, if you were paying attention. But if not, you just like, oh, well, this shows their spiritual state. This shows that their position that they were given, that they didn't let it get to their head. How many of us have been given stuff by God and it got to our head? We start thinking it was us. If you're finding yourself going crazy in the middle of a test, it's because you not following directions and you are trying to do it in your own strength because you want it to come out. You want it to make it where it makes you look good. And that's not how it works. It ain't about you looking good. It's about showing the reflection of God. Ain't about that. It's not about you, boo. It's not. So I'm actually going to stop right here because I do see that this video is starting to get to the 30-minute mark, and I don't want to make them too long and exhaust the saints. So we're going to leave off right here. As always, like, comment, share, subscribe. If this is on YouTube, information is in the description box. I need to start putting this information and also the Facebook description, which I'll start doing. Send me an email if you would like a copy of the Bible study. Send me an email if you you want prayer. Message me if you want prayer, or if you just want to say hello. However way you want to, whatever you want to say, you can communicate with me. I'm just giving you options where you can reach out to me directly. I like to thank all of you for watching. I pray that this has been a blessing to you and open your eyes and you're able to walk away from this change. All right. And then I hope that you're able to see things more clearly with God. All right. See y'all in a bit.